How's it? What's up? Okay, everything is working great. For those of you who are here, I had a couple hiccups on this video, but I think we're going to be good from here on out. So, today, the thing that I want to talk about is minimalism and simple designs. And basically, what I'm telling people right now is that simple designs aren't necessarily cheap designs. Now, let me just kind of tell you like the normal story that I go through. Someone approaches me and they say, I don't want a lot. I don't want a lot. I just want a really simple design. And I'm like, do you not want a lot or do you want a simple design? And then they'll say, yeah, I just want a really clean, simple design. And I'm like, you can either have a clean, simple design or you can have not a lot. They're not like the same thing. And that's a point that I've spent a lot of time driving home. The title of this video is Simple Designs Are Not Necessarily Cheap Designs. Okay, so let's just talk about minimalism. I'm going to kind of use the word minimalism and simple design somewhat interchangeably, although they're not really the same thing. Minimalism means a lot more. There's a lot more history behind that word. There's a whole era, like in the early 1900s, where music and art kind of followed up on the more experimental atonal music period, atonal art period, abstract art. They kind of all led into the minimalism styles, and we see this still today in like graphics and in music as well. So as far as minimalism goes, the idea is that you make very few decisions, but those decisions have a lot more meaning behind them. So if you're doing a design that's not very minimalistic, you can use a lot. You can have a lot of messiness. You're not as reliant on things like symmetry, containers, margins, borders. You can put things all over the place and it's totally cool. And I think when people think of designs, they think like the more you put on the page, that means the more it should cost. When in reality, that's not true at all. The quality of the page is how you should affect its cost. And furthermore, to be more specific, the amount that page increases whatever objective you have. And usually that objective would be to make more money. So as far as your design decisions, if you have less content, if you have a smaller page with less text and all this stuff, it actually is a much bigger decision. Every move you make is much more vital to your business, and therefore should be taken more seriously, and more resources should be put into it. Another thing I want to talk about example-wise, I remember I was in college, and I did philosophy and music in college, and in philosophy we had to write tons of papers. And what I started finding is that the professors would give us a minimum size. Coming from high school, you're like, whoa, I thought like the more the merrier, If you had a 4-page essay that was due and you turned in a 5 or 6-page one, it wouldn't really necessarily negatively affect your grade. But in a lot of my philosophy coursework, if I didn't make the message shorter, it would actually hurt the grade that I got for a given assignment. And the reason behind that is that it's actually much more difficult to say some things very quickly. It's more difficult to have a message and have it be very distilled and very compacted, and at the same time have that message be extremely clear and understandable by a wide audience. I'm very thankful for my training in philosophy, or my education in philosophy, because it really kind of helped me start to develop those skills. I'm still developing them now, but it's something that I started thinking about, is how to convey a message very quickly. And ironically, I think that really translated into marketing very well. Another example, because I'm using academic examples, is if you're a mathematician, you know, once you get to a certain point, you know, in the college math area, you can actually find a formula to solve just about anything, you know, once you kind of have the fundamentals. But what's much more useful is a shorter formula. So if you can have a formula that's like 4 lines, for example, in order to get what other mathematical goal you have done, that's much more useful than like a 10-page formula. In the same way, if you're making a website and you create a page that accomplishes as much as a huge page with tons of content in a glance, that's a very valuable thing. And likewise, if you can accomplish the same thing you would accomplish in a short essay that you would in a very, very long essay, you could accomplish what you have in 1 page, what you have in 10 pages in 1 page. That would be a very valuable thing to be able to do. So basically, by making this video, what I'm trying to say is that when you want something concise and distinct and explicit and clear, it's not necessarily going to equal to cheap. Actually, it's quite the opposite. The more distilled your message, the more clear it is. Actually, that tends to take more time and more energy than a much longer version, a much more convoluted version of that message. On that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it. That's just about all I wanted to say today. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I'm trying to do one every day, but it's kind of turning into more like 5 a week. And I hope that some of you are getting some value out of them. I'm using a lot of my personal experience. And I also just want to say that a lot of the things I'm telling you, people pay me pretty good money to kind of fill them in on. So the value is there, and I'm not charging anything for this YouTube channel. So just go ahead and let me know if you appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And also, if you want more, if you have any specific questions, things that you've been wondering about that relate to web development and the business of web development and web design, please, please, please don't be afraid to reach out. Would love to hear from you. On that note, I am going to end on a joke, which I posted on my Twitter several days ago. I'm just pulling it up now. The joke is, why did the web developer send a few extra bucks to his hosting provider? Because he heard that it was always good to tip his server. All right, guys. Thanks for dropping by. I'll see you later. Aloha. Boop. Hey, Rob. What's up, brah? Maybe I'll look you up real quick. Hold on. Look you up on Instagram.com/TikiRob.